Hello again. So, fluid change or bleed. Well, Enfield recommends 10,000 kilometers. Other manufacturers I have seen as user manuals recommend 15,000, 20,000 kilometers, 2 years, whichever is earlier. So, just crossed. Okay, so the bike has not been ridden from the past few weeks. Things were a few months short of completing 2 years, and I think the time is right. And another indication does not work very well always, but yeah, I'll open this and I'll show you the color. So if you look at yours, if yours is new, you would see that it is kind of transparent. A braking system will usually consist of a reservoir, a pump that is behind that, then the caliper, and then these would have the subcomponents like it would be sliding on these pins, and then the brake pads. Again, if the pins are not properly greased and maintained, and if the piston inside is not properly maintained, it would not get that free movement, and then again the brake sticking, overheating and all that. So that has to be done. Usually it's preferred somewhere around 3 to 5,000 kilometers to keep a lookout, grease them properly, clean it, pull it out. Changing the pads depends on your usage, so that has to be taken into account. Then we come in here. Now this is one unit, the pump and everything that can last for a pretty decent time if the reservoir has been properly maintained and there is no moisture accumulation, and I'll show you what I mean by properly maintained. And in the case of the rear brake, another thing that has to be maintained is that there should be free play, so that you're not sticking it while riding. Your boot is not always pressing slightly down on it, because that would again lead to wear and tear plus overheating, and then again would render the braking system useless. And same goes for front. Therein lies the caliper, and then the same thing goes, has to be properly greased every 3 to 5,000 kilometers. Changing the fluid can be done as per recommendation as 10,000. If looked after properly, 15,000 to 20,000 should be okay. Now the big question comes down to what kind of oil should we be using. Here I have the RE.4, and then I have Bosch again .4, and Bosch have made the ABS unit, so they do know a thing or two about brakes actually. So yeah, that's another thing. And now the next question is, if you want to use something like say Motul or any other brand, the only thing that has to be taken into account is that you buy the container, the smallest one that they have available. 100, 150 ml, 200 ml should do. Anywhere around 500 ml is going to be in excess. Like here I have Bosch. This is 250 ml, as you can see. This is a two-year-old container, and I was just doing some job on his bike like a month or two back, and he bought this back. Sorry mate, sorry to point you out, but it was a big no-no. I'll first show you why. Let's see what state this is in. Now do you see that? That was from this. Let's put this aside. And this is fresh container. 251 I'm gonna open because I'll be doing multiple bikes in a matter of like a week or so. Now one small thing that I have found slightly handy is on this side I'll make a slightly larger hole, and on this side I'll make a smaller one, so that whenever I have to top up it won't be overspilling. So now let's get a small container. So here you go. Now do you see the difference? Now you can maybe see. So that is what happens, and that is the problem. Basically what we are seeing here is since these oils are hygroscopic, they absorb water, get contaminated, and eventually that's where the problem is. By any of the oils, it does not matter as long as it is .4 or .5.1, but the key is that we don't just buy like a 250 ml bottle and then open it up and then keep it for like till the next time we have to do a brake job. That does not work. Whatever remains, just straight away give it out to one of your mates, help him do the bleeding job, flush job on his bike, get it done with. Whatever is left is just left. It is said that on shelf life this is good for about 2 years, one until opened, Once open, this is only good for like about 2-3 months basically. After that it will start changing color. If you don't trust me, just for a few couple of days, leave it at this much and see how much the quantity rises, because it is absorbing moisture. So I'll do one thing, maybe it's a good time. I'll just fill it up with the fresh water. I think that's somewhere around here roughly, and after a week or so I'll just post the pictures. Maybe you will be able to see, but yeah, that's what happens. There is no point topping up, because like say after 2 years it is still showing the same level, because once, if you keep the brake pads periodically maintained, keep them changing periodically, sorry, once you push them into the caliper, this oil level will come back, because this will start to go down as soon as the brake pads wear, because the piston would get closer and closer together, and then the rest of the area will be filled with brake fluid. So as soon as you open the caliper to change it, and as soon as you expand and bring the piston back into the caliper, the oil level would come back up. But the same goes for the front caliper as well as that as well. Now let's open this up and see what's going on inside. Cleaning the area surrounding it would be a good idea so that no debris is entering. Ideally, once you have this out and you remove this plastic washer, you would see that the foam inside would have slightly gone down. That is because it is again supposed to be airtight, like you see now. So put it back in place. And I don't exactly remember what color it was before, because I don't remember opening that, but as you can see, kind of mucky, so it's pretty much time. I should mention at this point that I'm having no trouble with braking, no brake fade, nothing. So this versus this fresh one, absorbed water from atmosphere, moisture, everything, this would reduce your braking and it will affect it, because these are supposed to be working at a boiling point, and then the compression, once we press down on the lever, how it flows through and how much it can be, how much force can be applied towards the piston to move it, and then again that's the basic idea. But if it has moisture in it, and if it is accumulated too much of it, if you have used a contaminated brake fluid, or if it has been too long since you have changed it, the problem that is going to happen is you are going to have that brake fade, because after a point, once you have ridden the bike hard over a period of time, say on a long ride or something, and you press down on the lever, it will just completely go down and the braking will not be as good. So yeah, dot 4 or dot 5.1, these are the two that you should be looking for. Dot 5 is a no-no, because that is blade based on silicone, and that does not gel well with the dot 4 or dot 5.1, these being glycol based. So just remember that, dot 4 or dot 5.1. No point going back to dot 3, as that is that has a lower temperature range. Dot 4 has somewhere around 230 degrees boiling point. Dot 5.1 has somewhere around 270. But dot 4 will do a decent job, don't worry about that. As I said, if the rest of the mechanism has been properly taken care of, master cylinder is in good nick, has been properly, the caliper has been properly maintained, as in good nick, pins greased and everything, that should take care of that. The rest of the things, yeah, I'll be using this instead of a screwdriver. More on that later. Now these are the diaphragms that go into the top master cylinder, front that is. This is going to be the right fit, I guess, looks like that, from Yamaha. You can buy an Enfield one. Now in acute cases, if master cylinder rebuild was required, now this is the kind of pump that comes in, again not from Enfield, but I don't think that is needed at this time. This is the important bit. Now the rear one is going to be 8 mm. So a close-ended spanner plus 8 mm spanner, normal. But to loosen them, I'll first be using this socket so that it does not slip. Trust me, comes in handy. I'll show you that later. For the front one, it is going to be using 11 mm. I'll be using open-ended one, but to initially open it, I'll be using 11 mm socket so that again there is no slippage. That covers that. Now on the pipes, yes, you would be needing some hoses. Ideally this should have been the right size. You can find these at any of the hardware stores where they have hoses, so finding them is not going to be difficult, or any of the mechanic shop as well. One last bit would be, now these are not for Enfield because Enfield uses longer screws, but just in case if you slip, it can happen, has happened to me in the past. Like as you see, these were too stubborn, they were just rusted in, and I had to use a screwdriver to hammer them out. So keeping new new screws can be handy, but as I said, Enfield has longer ones, so just remember that before starting off. If you can get access to those, that can be helpful. And needless to say, screwdriver, good quality. Now here is another thing that I do. Let me bring this out. So yeah, there is that thing. Now this is a screwdriver bit. Comes in handy while opening these because this can properly go in and without slipping. So I've had this for some time, but even on some bikes, if they are rusted, corroded, then this does not work. Then you only have to use a hammer or that. But a normal screwdriver, proper size, should do it. So basically, yeah, this is better camera angle. Hopefully, as you can see, no movement when I try to rotate it clockwise or anti-clockwise. But as you can see, the difference, thin one, plenty of movement. So if I try and open with this thinner one, smaller one, this is certainly gonna slip. Now this bit that I have, let's try this one. And do you see that? Even better than that bigger one that I had. So this is even bigger, has a longer reach and fits in properly. So this would be the best way to use it. Otherwise, yeah, use the proper screwdriver. How this fits in is in the 8 mm socket. This will go in like this. Then I can just put it on the wrench. And you get the point. Let me just show you as an example. And see, opens without any fuss or drama. Now let's discuss what if you were having some problem. For that, we would have to move from this one to this. Yeah, this has been under the weather, kind of. Hadn't had the time in the last couple of weeks, but would be working on this. The one on this side is not going to have any problem. But this one, if you are able to see the problem that I was mentioning earlier, this one slipped, corrosion or whatever. And if that happens, that is where having those spare screws comes in handy. But basically, old screwdriver that I use as a hammer, and needless to say, a hammer. We try and dig this in, and from the edge, we try to move it like that. As soon as there is some movement, you can know that this is, yeah, so there has been some movement. Now I can use again. Proper screwdriver, proper size screwdriver is going to be important. Now this is not going to work since I've already hammered it, so I need a thinner one now. Let's try this. And yeah, free movement basically. So yeah, that is the thing. Might get more damage, more hammering, but only do it if you're comfortable, otherwise take it to a shop. So the screwdrivers can do the job as well. You just have to have the right kind, like as you can see again, not the right fit. And then this has one on this side, and this one is too big actually. So that's the key. I hope you understand, not fitting in. Now this one is not, but you can still see some gap. But let's try with this. And this is another thing. Using rubber to try and loosen it slightly does come in handy. I'm just using this glove. Considering that these are already loose, I may be able to break it free, but let's see. Now this is still slipping. I hope you get the point. So if this is happening, then comes the time to use a hammer. Sometimes it gets corroded because of the brake fluid and everything, and inside as well, so it just sticks. It's important to basically tighten them and make sure that it does not slip in the first place. And if it has slipped, so when I'll do this, I'll certainly replace it so that this is new, second one will be new. Next time whenever I have to do it, I won't be going through the problem again. Now let's have a look inside the Himalayan one. Now you heard that pop? That was that diaphragm coming back, popping up. So seal was good, is not looking that bad. I'll be changing both this one as the rear one, and then I'll know for sure that I'm good to go for another 15-20,000 or next 2 years. Yeah, what am I forgetting? Yeah, the main important thing, this diaphragm that you see here, let me get it out. If you see any kind of damage on the edges here, these edges, that means that the water ingress is going to be pretty bad. Oh, sorry, the moisture, it is not going to seal properly, and that is going to contaminate the oil. So at that point this needs to be changed. Again, this can be bought at an RE showroom, but let me see what I have. So yeah, found a match, the Yamaha one. You know, I always keep on interchanging parts. So this is the Yamaha one, just perfect fit. So just in case if you guys are having trouble finding the RE one, you can get one from Yamaha. This is the part number if it helps. Price is 62 rupees. I'll show you what a properly damaged one looks like. And that would be something that has gone and become like this. Again, from the old bike. Even the edges were properly sealed, but it has been, I mean, as you can see, this is not what it should look like. See how swollen it is? So this is gone. This is the time to change it. And this is what a new one would look like. Again, main point being this will not seal properly. And again, too much moisture accumulation, and then it will just, you'd have to change the brake fluid more often, and you will not get that proper kind of a feeling. So yeah, that's the time. This is gone. Bleeding them, those would be in the next series of video. If I've forgotten something, I'll maybe add in the subtitle. Or take care and do stay safe. Masks, just proper COVID appropriate behavior. Please keep following that. Things can get a bit out of hand, as I've found in the last couple of weeks in my family and as things are. But anyways, chin up, have a good one. Cheers.